wrestling fan, hearing that SmackDown going live was amazing. It's something that kind of excites me, as well as it being something completely new and different. We have seen live SmackDowns back in the day. Well, not really back in the day, but a few years back. But honestly, it just wasn't. It wasn't something that panned out. Plus, they were actually using the same writers that wrote Raw, so I wouldn't be surprised if the writers were completely exhausted mentally. But now that SmackDown is going to have their own writing team, their own roster that's completely different from Raw, it just seems like it's a whole new dynamic and it's exciting. But here's my issue with this. I do believe that there's going to be a lot of oversaturation of wrestling. Now, hear me out here. At this moment, because we know that everything's going to happen and change around July. But at this moment, we actually have Raw on Monday for live for 3 hours. Then we have a taped SmackDown on Thursday, which is 2 hours. Then on Wednesday, we have Lucha Underground. And on Friday, we have New Japan. For those who have Access TV or other channels, well, for me, I have Access, so it actually comes on Fridays. So that leaves Tuesday with nothing. But now, when July goes around, when July actually does come around, we have Raw for 3 hours live on Monday, SmackDown for for 2 hours live on Monday. Then we're going to have Lucha Underground on Wednesdays. Then we're going to have New Japan on Fridays. So that leaves Thursday to be completely open, but then that also includes those that have the WWE Network. They'll be able to see superstars. They'll be able to see main event and all different kinds of other shows. Something is telling me that this is going to be completely draining for a wrestling fan. It's going to be difficult to keep all that up. Mainly that you have live shows. With the tapings, that's a whole different story. You can probably record that and be fine. But everybody likes to see a live show because anything can happen on a live show. If you go back and see it on the network, it's going to be edited. But having close to 5 hours of live TV for the first 2 days of the week has to be difficult. It's going to be really hard, especially for people like me, or someone like me that likes to do reviews. I'm going to have to pick and choose what reviews I'm going to actually do because I know I'm not going to be able to do both. It's going to be extremely exhausting. But my biggest concern is I really feel that wrestling is going to be oversaturated to the point where people are going to get burned out. It's going to affect not only the WWE brand, but it's going to affect all brands in general. Especially, how can I forget TNA? And I think TNA is on Thursday. So actually, we have an entire week of nothing but wrestling. For a wrestling fan that eats, sleeps, breathes, and just consumes wrestling is going to love that. But honestly, I really do see that this oversaturation is going to burn a lot of fans out. Especially the fact that we got 2 live shows in like back to back in 1 week. That's going to be really, really difficult. Now, I don't know what they're going to do about Raw being 3 hours. I'm hoping that they actually reduce it back to 2 and have it start at 9 and end at 11. I'm fine with that. They're fine with SmackDown as well as NXT. And NXT happens to be on Wednesdays, but we don't really know what's going to happen in NXT in July. So that may completely change. But other than that, a 3-hour Raw live to have a 2-hour SmackDown live is just a bit much. Then you have other wrestling brands that are going along that week. It's going to be to the point where no one's going to care. They'll be too burnt out to care. I honestly believe that maybe somehow, I don't know. I really don't have an idea when it comes to this. I know that as a wrestling fan, I should be happy. But then when it comes to a pay-per-view month, the only free day that you're going to have as a wrestling fan is on Saturdays. It'll be to the point where you don't even want to watch it, especially if it's bad. Because honestly, here's my theory, and I've already had the video out on this. I really do believe that they might send Shane to SmackDown. I hope they keep him on Raw. He's already on he's already at the opening credits coming in, so I'm hoping that he'll stay there. But if they put Stephanie there instead and have him on SmackDown, either or, there's going to be one draining episode of something. Whether it's going to be Raw or whether it's going to be SmackDown, it's going to be hard to watch. The only thing that'll keep me going is doing live tweets pretty much every night. And imagine there's going to be I don't know. There's gonna be a lot more people doing live tweets for SmackDown because there are a lot of people that used to Raw than SmackDown. But other than that, I really do feel there's going to be a huge oversaturation of wrestling altogether. A lot of competition that's going on between wrestling brands. Not so much with TNA, but definitely with Lucha as well as New Japan, because we have a lot of talent coming from there. Especially with the cruiserweight tournament that's going to be coming up in July. I know that Ricochet, aka Prince Puma, is going to be in there, and there's going to be a lot of people. I think King Cuerno is actually in it as well. I could be wrong. But there's going to be a few people from Lucha as well as people from New Japan that's going to be in a cruiserweight tournament that's going to be happening in January. Not January, in July. So guys, this is going to be huge. Like seriously, everything wrestling is happening 7 days a week. Well, not really so much 7 days a week always, at least once a month. The entire week is going to be saturated with wrestling. But I don't know about you guys, but the very thought of having wrestling every single day, it's kind of draining. It just is. It's just a bit overwhelming thinking that all wrestling all the time. But when you honestly think about it, you actually do have a choice whether or not you want to watch wrestling or not. It's not like you're glued to the TV or handcuffed to your bed. Okay, let me rephrase that. It's not like you're handcuffed to your... I can't really make it clean, but you guys know what I mean. It's not like anybody is holding you against your will to watch wrestling. You can shut it off if you want to. And yes, there is a huge amount of oversaturation at this point, including with the network. But you still have a choice to shut it off. You don't have to watch it all the time. You don't have to look at it all the time. But you do have the choice if you really want to. Especially when it comes to the live events. Live events is always fun, especially when it comes to Twitter. I love live tweeting on Twitter. But I do have the choice whether or not to do it on Tuesdays or on Mondays. That's my choice. So when it comes to the oversaturation thing, yes, it's oversaturated for an entire week, especially during pay-per-view times. But you do have your choice to stop. So it's not necessarily a big deal. But other than that, guys, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you believe that the oversaturation is a bit much and maybe they should tone back a bit? Or do you think it doesn't matter because you actually do have the free choice not to watch it or not? I want to know you guys' idea on this. Leave a comment in the comment section below. And I don't think they send video responses anymore, but just leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm curious to hear what you guys' thoughts on this. Because even though there is going to be literally wrestling for 7 days a week, including pay-per-view days, I honestly think that it's not going to be that bad. It might get people to watch wrestling again. Plus, if it's getting too much, you can always shut it off. But that's my opinion on the whole thing. I want to hear your thoughts. Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out, y'all. Later.